earlier today I saw Conor McGregor do a Q&A live, which I believe was exclusively for his Mac Life channel on YouTube, which, by the way, is also an MMA media site. Nonetheless, a content that is driven and created for the good of Conor McGregor, if not all of mixed martial arts altogether. And indeed, he did exactly that. He talked a lot of mixed martial arts, which I think really puts his head in the right direction. Even more so when someone asked him, what do you think about John Jones ducking Tom Aspinall? To which he sort of snubbed the question away, which tells me a couple of things. It tells me that he's really ready for this Michael Chandler fight. And the fact that he's not concerned about anybody else's business, not including his own. In other words, he's focused on his own business and that's it. Which is not just the fight business. The business outside of fighting, but the fight business, promotions, and the actual fighting in and of itself. So that's at least what it tells me. He refused to drink when he was there with Oscar, the guy that was the Mac Life host. And again, I think that's quite standard. It kind of tells you that it's the least minimum of what you should be doing in a training camp. Abstaining from things that are bad for you, if not just cut them out all out together. You know how us Muslims are going to feel about that. Now, which leads me to the next segue. He said that for my Muslim fans, alhamdulillah, something to that extent, I have 0 alcohol beverages that I can provide for you later down the road. And I'm thinking, well, why not just make an energy drink altogether, if not some sort of soft drink of its own kind? But either way, it reminded me of his biggest rivalry in Khabib Nurmagomedov. And not only that, the way that he sold that particular fight. He also mentioned there that, hey, my manager is a Muslim guy, which, by the way, is El-Kheer, an LA guy, played for UCLA football, has connections to the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, and the NFL, and across all sports, including combat sports, Conor McGregor, and previously Tony Ferguson, in which Tony Ferguson had to leave due to a conflict of interest of him trying to fight Conor McGregor at some point of his career. Either way, it really reminded me of how he master planned the whole promotion for Khabib versus him. Now, why do I say that? Why do I say that he masterminded that whole entire particular promotion? He made you think that he hated Muslims. You can go back to the Floyd Mayweather fight. Even Conor McGregor mentioned something to the effect of sort of race baiting, and there's plenty of examples that I can give you. I don't want to mention them. You can look it up. There's aspects of Conor McGregor sort of race baiting that Floyd Mayweather fight. And Floyd Mayweather, to Conor McGregor's credit, was also sort of piling on and exaggerating that whole entire concept. And some comments that he had said Conor McGregor made towards certain specific group of people. Nonetheless, you've all been hoodwinked through the master plan and promotion of Conor McGregor, which is what made the Khabib versus Conor McGregor fight literally, in my opinion, the biggest event in the entire history of sports. Looking back at it, it aged very well. And by the way, the reason why we're talking about this is because Ali Abdelaziz, as you know, threatened Conor McGregor online and said something to the effect of, you know what happens, as sort of insinuating as if something had happened outside of the cage that sort of maybe showed Conor McGregor what sort of cards he was dealing with in Ali Abdelaziz, or any type of connections or capabilities he may have outside of the world of combat sports. And for those of you that know enough about Ali Abdelaziz, the manager of Khabib, you know that this is not a guy to mess with. You can lean one way in whatever political aisle you want to. You can feel a certain way about Ali Abdelaziz in a way that you may feel or may be misguided to or somehow bred into thinking or feeling a certain way. But one thing you can't deny from Ali, he is well connected, and not only that, he's a very well and capable man. And you want some sort of context behind that? Look back at TMZ a couple of years ago when they had all the fighters from the Dominance Management Camp, which, by the way, is the management camp owned by Ali. The names like Justin Gaethje, Ali Abdelaziz has also other names like Kamaru Usman. At one point, he had Khamzat in his management team. And then at one point, well, not at one point, still now, has Belal Muhammad, Islam Makhachev, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and not only that, opposing fighters that fight amongst each other, Gilbert Burns. So he's a very influential man, and it all started with him becoming a manager for Frankie Edgar. When Frankie Edgar needed a manager, he gave Ali a shot because Ali was a guy that was training within the, which I believe was the Renzo Gracie group in New York, which also is a team of George St. Pierre on top of other top names such as John Danaher, and the list goes on in the grappling and MMA world. So, once again, this whole entire beef with Khabib and Ali and Conor McGregor have ignited, which now I'm going to tell you, after telling you the background of this whole entire fiasco, I'm going to give you a couple of examples of where this can potentially lead and what type of matchups we can expect out of it. For one, let's start with the most realistic and immediate. Because if Conor McGregor gets through Michael Chandler, you can put Islam Makhachev in there as a potential title fight, even with Dustin Poirier. And even if Dustin Poirier pulls off a miracle against Conor McGregor, guess what? Now you have a great matchup for Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier in a trilogy, not even a trilogy, now a quadrilogy for the 155 strap after years of not obtaining the undisputed championship from Dustin Poirier, finally doing it against Islam. That's if he climbs that big mountain. How about this? The fact that a lot of people are citing that Khabib is coming back training due to his recent tax problems that he's been having, and I urge you guys to take a look at some of the videos that I've made on that. That is a possibility that he may come back just to get a few millions, and on top of that, pay off whatever he needs while making more in the process. Against Conor McGregor, the most obvious choice. In the mind of Khabib, it would be easy work. It would be something that he knows and is already familiar with. He'll fight at a heavier weight class, so there is going to be a different dynamic of danger there, especially with Conor McGregor's knockout power at 170. Something to also take into consideration. You look at the Cerrone fight, even the fight with Diaz. There's a possibility in that. He does have great knockout power and can present challenges to Khabib because there's no way these guys are going to fight at 155. So that's one possible matchup. And then the last possible matchup out of this whole entire beef that they have going on and that they're spouting about, I could picture perhaps maybe Conor McGregor fighting all of them in the span of a year. What do I mean by that? He gets through Chandler, let's say he does, hypothetically, and I'm speaking on the positives of the hypothetical scenarios. He gets through Chandler, automatic championship shot against either Islam or Dustin Poirier. And suppose he does beat either Islam or Dustin Poirier. By the way, highly unlikely if it was Islam Makhachev, in my opinion, if it was Conor McGregor and Islam, but even a little bit more better if it was Dustin Poirier. In other words, he has a higher chance. So that's what Conor McGregor has in mind. He wants to get through Chandler, and then he wants to get a title shot after that. And then perhaps somewhere down the line, he's going to continue the beef lineage that Team Eagle has with Conor McGregor's camp. And by the way, not for nothing, but on the Bellator side and on the side of regional MMA, when it comes to Team Eagle MMA versus Conor McGregor's team, it's quite obvious that statistically speaking and championship accolades speaking, Team Khabib has more championships overall in the span of across MMA channels and promotions more than the SBG Ireland camp of Conor McGregor. But either way, don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope I gave you guys the history, the recent news of their recent beef, on top of how that relates to Khabib and his tax problems, perhaps wanting to get another fight to compensate for the tax problems while making more money in the process, while using Conor McGregor to perhaps making that as a potential avenue of possibilities to fix these problems. And then on top of that, giving you future fight scenarios of what this potential beef can lend itself in future matchmaking scenarios, on top of the potential matchups that can happen if one guy wins over the other. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope I described to you guys proper 12 minutes of the best explanation that you can get in all of across MMA channels on YouTube. Once again, like, subscribe. Don't forget to tell a friend, and share with everybody around the world. Inshallah.